Okay, so I want to take you on a little journey to see how good the tracking is on the DJI Neo. So I'm starting my run and just trying to check the angles and everything. So then I set the timer on my Apple Watch and now we're off. So I begin to do it easy, just kind of give it some very basic movements. And as you can see, there is a little bit of hesitation, but it's not bad whatsoever. And then I go around this tree over here and it follows me very, very well, very smooth. I cross the street, same thing. The camera seems to be panning with me, putting me centered, and it's nice and smooth. So then I proceed to kind of go towards the highway-ish area. I see somebody, so I avoid her, and the camera, then drone also avoids the obstacle. And there's another couple that's going to be walking. You see them in the distance. And so I stay to the right to make sure that the drone is going to be directly behind me. But I think the drone does have the technology to understand what people are and to avoid them. And so it did. So that was really, really neat that happens. Now, as we go up this little hill, I wanted to really start to test the limits of this drone can do. So I am going to actually go through some the telephone poles, and you'll see it actually does an incredible job of trying its best to make the videos to be smooth and at the same time avoiding the obstacle. Now keep in mind, there are no obstacle avoidance that's a part of this particular drone. So it's using AI to detect what's in front of it, and then it's just avoiding it. So right there, it didn't hit the telephone pole. So now I squeezed in between two telephone poles, and guess what? It did the same thing. It followed my path, and it did not hit the telephone pole. Really shocked. And the reason that I knew that this was still working without me having to look back to check is because I heard the drone trailing behind me, probably about 7 to 10 feet behind me. So I felt really confident that we're doing everything that what this drone could do. So now as we go ahead and I'm still jogging, I ran 1 mile. So now as we're jogging, people are noticing it because they're hearing a buzzing sound, and they're seeing that there's a little tiny device that's following me. And as you can see, it's following me through little zigzags. So I cut around the corner. And I made sure to give it a little bit of space so they could find me and track me around the bend, and it does. And I'm really liking how the transition in the brightness to the shadows, it does a great job of doing it. I think I saw my neighbor, so I just waved. Anyway, it does a great job of transitioning between the highlights and the shadows without having a crazy abrupt transition in exposure. So now, very basic, I'm on the road, and as you can see, the drone is following me nicely, smoothly, keeping me at the same distance. I'm avoiding people, and then I'm like, okay, let me get back here. Let me see what this drone can do. I spot a little gap, so I go ahead and watch. You'll see that I actually go through the gap, and it's very tight. You can see it's just a little bit wider than me, and the drone effortlessly goes through it. And I heard it right behind me, trailing behind me, so I was like, all right, let me see if we can find another gap, and it does. Here's a stop sign and a tree, and it's very tight. Then it goes through, no issues. So this whole entire time, I'm hearing it, and I'm like, wow, I'm so amazed at what this thing can do. So then I follow, and I see another tiny little gap, and I'm like, all right, let me do this one too. And lo and behold, the drone follows it, and then follows me around to then getting back on the grass. Same thing, and it's not an abrupt movement. This is what I love about this technology so far with DJI. It's not a abrupt, hey, let me get over there, but it's more of a smooth pan. And it's consistent. It's consistently following me. And now I'm over here at a shopping strip mall, and I'm doing my run, and it's still smooth. You'll see there's no up and down. It's just going forward. Even though I'm running up and down, the drone isn't trying to compensate in that manner. It's literally just following me. So then over here, there's a little bit of a hiccup. I think there's a little bit of delay here. So I turn, and then it kind of stops and catches up. But it does a great job because it quickly realizes that I made a sharp turn, and then it just kind of fixes itself. So now here I am back in the parking lot, and I'm saying to myself, okay, I want to make sure that I can consistently go. Are we still recording? Yes, we are. Okay, good. I just double checked to make sure that the audio is still recording. Anyway, back to this run. The run, I felt like I was getting tired because I'm running about a mile. So now I'm like, okay, let me test what this thing can do yet again. And I run through these little tiny trees. I jump over a little creek, and look at this. It clears it, no issues. And then it finds me and gets right back on track. And again, it's very smooth. This is the thing that I really love about this, that the drone is smooth at tracking. It understands what's in front of it and how to navigate it. And I was gonna go straight to finish it, but I was like, you know what? I really wanna see more of what this thing can do and what it looks like with the footage. So I go up here to the left, and of course the drone follows me up those steps. And now I'm in between bushes and cars, and it's the same thing, following me smoothly. And you'll see coming up, I actually go through a tiny, tiny little gap that I barely can fit through, just to see if the drone can also follow in a small, small gap. It's probably just a little bit wider than me, and it's coming up right about here by the mailbox and this street sign, I believe. You'll see it right over here. Look at this. So that's a tight little gap, and the drone goes through, no problem. And now we're back into this really awesome follow tracking mode. It's nice and smooth. You can see the shadows are good. The highlights are not fully blown. The image quality, because I used a LUT to color grade it, I think it looks pretty good. It actually doesn't even look too over sharpened. And I know that's the criticism that a lot of other people are saying, that it's got that over sharpened look, but I think if you just put it on a timeline and slap a good LUT on it, you should be fine. So we're nearing towards the end, and I'm going down this hill, and I wanted to test it again. This is where there was a little bit of an abruptness in how it changes. I jumped over the bushes. It didn't anticipate that. So then it finds me, catches up, and then it says, here, I'm right back to work for you, bud. And now, same thing. I go in between these telephone poles. The drone almost crashes. I was very, very concerned, but it doesn't. So now we're back on track over here. I'm going back downhill, and I'm catching my breath, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, what do I do here? How else can I test this drone? And what I decided to do next is to sprint. And keep in mind, I'm at the end of about a mile run, and I wanted to see how fast can this drone, and I didn't go 100%, but I would say I probably went about a good 85%. So here I am, I'm sprinting, I'm out of breath, and I'm sprinting. I'm like, all right, is this drone behind me? And I heard it behind me, so I know it can catch up. So look at it, it literally feels like it's running after me, and it was very, very fast. So then I slowed down because I was out of breath. So back into jogging mode, and I gotta say, I'm very, very pleased at what this thing can do. And I think the technology is here with this drone. I can't wait to see what the next iteration of what a DJI Neo Pro may look like, both in terms of the camera getting better and or adding some type of obstacle avoidance that's gonna give it even more, maybe even LiDAR, maybe more sophisticated awareness of what's around you and what's behind you, because that's what I haven't tried so far, is to have the drone follow me from the front. So as you can see over here, it's navigating through everything just fine. And so I was really, really, all in all, this drone is an absolute success. And for $200, you can't go wrong. $200, no remote control. Oh, and I actually do one more lap because that wasn't a full mile. I do a lap around the backyard, which is the back area of my townhouse. And again, it's gonna follow me without any issues. But I'm really impressed at what the technology of this drone is so far. Looking forward to what it can be down the road. I think a Neo Pro would absolutely be amazing in terms of having this technology with a better camera and just a little bit of obstacle avoidance. So all in all, very pleased with this camera. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. And I'm almost positive that I'm gonna be able to find some practical use cases for it in my professional world as well. Guys, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, please leave some comments. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, because I'm not a YouTuber yet, and maybe I will. Maybe I'll become one. So that's it, folks. And now at the end of my mile jog, I take a deep breath and relax, and victory, both in terms of the mile run as well as the success of this test on the DJI Neo. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll talk to you soon.